Yes, we want to offer you citizens a great place to live, but number one, we are business people. We have to make money. Hey, this is Matt Pichet, the Fruitful Investor and your investing coach. And today's video is about the unintended consequences of the new Ontario Fair Housing Plan and what impact that's going to have on the real estate market. So first, let's talk about the general real estate market, the homeowner market, and see what's likely going to happen to that general space. Number one is the 15% foreign buyer tax will likely offer temporary cooling to the real estate market. Even though foreign buyers make up such a small percentage of the buyers, even though the Ontario government and the federal government is making it seem like it's this big number, at least 50% of the buyers are Chinese buyers, it is totally false. They make up such a small percentage. But that 15% buyer tax is still gonna have a fear factor effect. It's gonna have a fear effect even on domestic buyers, okay? So people that live here, they're gonna get freaked out by this foreign buyer tax, even though it doesn't apply to them at all. They're still gonna have this fear that the bubble's bursting and that's why the government's intervening. So they're gonna get freaked out. So what's that gonna cause? There's gonna be likely more listings hitting the market, and we're already seeing that now. Why? Because sellers are gonna have FOMO, fear of missing out. They're gonna think that the big boom is coming to an end, and that's why the government is intervening to try and slow things down. So a seller's thinking, I better sell my house now before the good times stop rolling. And we're already seeing that now. There's a ton of more listings that just hit the market as soon as the announcement was made. So we're already seeing that. But the problem is, this is gonna have a temporary cooling effect because the fundamentals here are so strong and there's a ton of GDP growth and population growth that these new rules will have a temporary effect. So in the short term, the Liberal government is going to look like heroes. They're going to go, see, I told you that this is going to slow the market down, but long term, it's likely going to pick right back up again, just as it did in Vancouver when they had the foreign buyer tax. Things slowed right down, but as people got used to it and it was just part of everyday life, the market ramped right back up again within 6 months. That's likely going to happen again in the Toronto and Golden Horseshoe area. So the problem is that when governments intervene in the real estate market, rather than just letting the market be the market, they're actually prolonging what's gonna happen no matter what, which is a correction in the real estate market. When a market goes up really quick, it comes down back to center really quick. Everything wants to come back to center, okay? So the market will correct itself. It always does, it always has. That's just what the real estate cycle does. But when the government's trying to intervene, and for good reasons, they're trying to make things better for their citizens and their voters, which is what everybody's saying is likely a political move. This is a giant political move. The Liberal government isn't the most popular government. The election's coming up fairly soon, so they're trying to intervene and look like heroes. But the problem is they're just extending the boom, which is, it's gonna happen anyway, okay? So it's better usually to just let the market be the market, because before these rules were already announced, the Toronto real estate market, all the real estate markets around the Golden Horseshoe area were already showing signs of slowing in comparison to the recent months before that. So the market was already kind of starting to correct itself, and this is just gonna prolong the inevitable, okay? So that's likely what's gonna happen to the general real estate market, but let's talk about the rental real estate market. So the rental restrictions that were just added is gonna make things likely a big problem. And again, in the temporary, immediate future, it's gonna look good. All the renters are gonna go, yay, thank you, Kathleen Wynne, for not making my rents skyrocket, double or triple what I was just paying. Thank you very much. But in the long term, renters actually gonna end up paying more likely. I'll just tell you why. Number one, there's gonna be fewer developers. Why? Because they relied on the 1991 loophole, which they could raise rents on newer buildings. So now that they can't do that, a lot of developers aren't gonna build anymore. They're not gonna build rental housing because they're not gonna make as much money. A lot of these developers were making projections based on rental increases of 3, 4, and 5% a year. Now they have a cap at 2.5% a year, and that's if it's a perfect year and the Ontario government gives us that. Last year we only had a 1.5% rental increase. So these developers, they just aren't gonna build anymore. You have to put yourself in their shoes and real estate investors' shoes. We invest in real estate so we can make money. Yes, we want to offer you citizens a great place to live, but number one, We are business people. We have to make money. If we can't make money here, we're gonna make money somewhere else. And that's, again, what's likely gonna happen. Ontario landlords will likely leave Ontario. Ontario has one of the worst tenant rules for landlords for our protection out of all the provinces in Canada. There are many other provinces that are much more landlord friendly, such as Alberta, Saskatchewan, and even BC. Ontario is so tenant friendly already, and now they're making it even more tenant friendly. So it's not giving us an incentive to offer you guys houses, because we're just gonna get screwed and we're taking a lot of the risk. So why invest in Ontario when we can just invest our money in Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, BC, and make much more money with much less risk? That's likely what's gonna happen. People are gonna leave. So what's that gonna cause? Less developers making rental housing, less Ontario landlords buying in Ontario. They're just gonna buy somewhere else. That's gonna lower the supply of rental properties. Now what happens when there's a short supply of rental properties? Renters fight over those properties, and what happens when that happens? Rents increase. So what's gonna happen in the long-term future? Renters are likely gonna feel trapped because rents will increase. They might go down a little bit in the near future, but long-term, rents will increase because there will be less rental properties because investors just aren't gonna wanna continue investing in Ontario. Okay, so renters are gonna feel trapped because if they leave, now they have a nice solid rent that they're paying, and it really can't go up that much higher anymore. So in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, their rent, if they were to leave, would be maybe double, maybe 50% more, so they're not gonna leave. And then real estate is gonna continue to get hot because they're just extending the inevitable. So affordability will remain a problem, so they can't rent another property because it's gonna be too much. They definitely can't buy a property at that time because it's gonna be way too much, so they're gonna feel trapped, which is the same position that they're in right now. So when governments intervene in real estate markets, it's usually not a good idea. There's always unintended consequences. It's usually always better just let the market be the market. The market will always correct itself, okay? That's the tip. If you learned anything, if you like this video, please click like right below. To find out more about my real estate investing apprenticeship program, how we can buy real estate one-on-one while I mentor you, you can click right about here. And to watch more videos, you can click right about here. See you in the next video.